Good morning. Welcome to the Carla Marie and Anthony show. My name is Anthony,
I'm Carla Marie.
and I think that worked. So if it did, let's get some mic check emotes. Make sure you heard me. Make sure you heard Carla Marie as well. And we'll move on with the show. All right, mic check. It worked, Carla Marie.
Cool.
We had this really weird thing. I don't know what happened before. I don't know if it was an internet issue. We were testing everything out about 30 minutes before we normally start the show. So 7:30 on the West Coast, 10:30 here on the East Coast. And everything was working great. And then for some reason, nothing changed. We didn't even touch the computers.
No.
Carla Marie's audio just stopped working.
Yeah, so be prepared for it to happen again.
So we think maybe it was an internet thing, but I believe we have fixed that issue. We are in Hype Train level 4. So if we do get through level 5, I know Carla Marie's got... Do you have the Seattle Cocktail Club shots with you?
I do. I don't know if I got the instructions, though.
What do you do with them?
Well, I leave them here, and then you use them somewhere else.
Well, maybe you should be a little more responsible, Carla Marie, with your duties.
I am a total mouth breather today, and
Yeah,
that's why
on?
Well, first, so this medication that they have me on, so that basically my urinary tract opens up, and the kidney stone can pass easier. The side effects,
does it make you pee more? It actually widens things.
It just widens things. I don't know. I haven't been peeing more, I don't think. But I've never had the side effects of a medication I actually felt, other than nausea.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was always like, oh, you may experience this. It's everything. First of all, congestion. And I was like, okay, whatever. She warned me. I woke up the first day and I was like, oh my God. And you don't feel sick. You're just so congested.
Yeah.
So it kind of goes away after I've been awake, but I can't breathe because I just have to breathe. It keeps waking me up because I can't breathe. And I'm just feel like I'm catching my breath so much more. What else? Oh, it makes me super tired.
Have you felt it while you've been working out?
I mean, I PR'd yesterday at Orange Theory somehow, but I wanted to die.
So, but what I'm saying is are you having a more difficult time breathing while you're working out?
I think so, but I'm just going to muscle through it because the only other option is to just sit around, and I can't. I cannot.
Let's see. I see we just got some gifted subs from Jen and Lisa, and it looks like Jen is currently the hype boss.
Damn.
I wish it showed little characters fighting like Street Fighter.
No, I want it to be like Mob. The Mob, my people. We get your birthday song, we get my mob.
But what would it do on the screen?
Kill you.
Throw him in the river?
Yeah. She'd throw everyone else in the river.
In the Hackensack? No, what is the river?
Passaic. Well, Hudson.
Right.
It's the Hudson. Passaic is not. I'm sure.
Listen,
there, but
I am sure there are people in the Passaic River.
But mainly Hudson because it's much deeper.
Yeah, but there's got to be a oft Italian somewhere in the Passaic. Somewhere in there.
Huge congratulations to Jen and Lisa. They just got their permit yesterday for their home baking business.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm going to need somebody in this chat to make a health food business because I need help here.
Let's see. Miguel in Miami, Florida just gifted 5 tier 1 subs. And I believe, Carla Marie, that takes us. Double check.
I'm just tweeting that we're live.
I think that takes us over the limit for the hype train.
Okay.
We got a hi from Ireland. First time in the chat.
What?
Welcome from that you're not. You know what? This is such an international stream that you are not our first international viewer, but we welcome you nonetheless.
Yeah, please. How'd you find us? Is it Ash Snails? And tell us something fun about you.
All right, Carla Marie, it is actually level 6. We've been in level 5. I didn't even realize that. So, hype train level 6. Carla Marie will prepare her shot, and I will go grab a small glass so that I can take this screwball whiskey shot.
I'm really struggling today. I feel great otherwise, but I had to wear eye patches this morning because when you're congested, you know how your eyes get puffy. I have Anthony's. He bought one of those nose things. Don't worry, I'll use distilled water. I don't want to get a brain eating amoeba, but It's not like the handheld one. It's a machine. I know, Martha, but I'm not going to buy a humidifier just to get through this medication. I have a purifier that helps a lot with the dust. I can't have any more gadgets around me. Oh, that's awesome, Ash. So you watch Young Nails from Ireland. This is going to be an interesting question, but like we have so many different laws when it comes to beauty here in America and practicing that service. Is it different in Ireland? All right, I'll get a humidifier in the next Amazon Prime Day.
Okay, I'm back. What's going on?
We're talking humidifiers.
Ooh, thrilling. This
Your
is
nose
what you
thing?
did for our guest from Ireland? You started to talk about
No,
humidifiers?
no. So Ash Nails found us from Young Nails, and I
Oh,
was like,
cool.
"Ooh." I was asking, like, are there different laws and stuff in Ireland when it comes to doing like beauty services?
What laws are there in America?
Every state is different.
Oh, really?
Um,
So,
for
like,
example,
what are the
in
big things that change from state to state?
I don't know all of them, but I know in New Jersey, like you can't like touch a person's skin and be paid for it without having a permit. So like if it's like the not permit, a license.
Hmm.
If you're the person like doing the makeup at Mac, you need to be licensed. Here, you don't.
In Washington?
No.
So you can just start grabbing? That sounds weird. I feel like
Correct me if I'm
there's
wrong.
a lot of things you should be registered for. Not because the government should give you
Well,
the ability to do something, but there should be some sort of governing body that says like, "Hey, we approve the things that you do, and we certify that you are trained enough to do this thing."
I completely agree with that, but like honestly, you can learn so many better makeup techniques from teaching yourself on YouTube than you can in school. Like two of my nieces just went through beauty school and yes, they learned a lot and they were forced to learn, right? It
Hmm.
wasn't self-learning, which I think is important. Like they had to go to school, they had to like grow up, have responsibilities, but so much of it they already knew from
Yeah,
something
but
like YouTube.
I think there's a difference between learning on YouTube and learning yourself. Listen, we learned a lot on for even our business on YouTube and online, but I think there are training methods and there's someone certifying that you're learning those things and you can apply them. You can take them from the video that you just watched and apply them in the real world. I think that's the biggest difference.
Right. And what It's Me Meat said, it's not just about technique, it's about safety.
Yeah.
But in Washington, they just don't care then?
You know what's weird in Washington that I found out? And I think this was something um, that started in the 80s when everyone was panicking about AIDS and adding all these random restrictions thinking they were helping. But in Washington, I believe for a while it was illegal to use the straight razor at a barber shop.
Mm.
So a lot of barbers in Washington won't do it because they didn't have
Explains
to
why
train that
everyone
way.
explains why everyone here is so furry.
But in Jersey, I mean, you can't walk into a New Jersey barber shop without getting the straight, even if you don't ask. They're gonna give you the straight razor.
It's crazy.
And one of the things that I've asked for and I haven't searched for a barber in Washington for a long time, but is I'll find places that use the straight razor. Because as a Middle Eastern man, I mean, this thing needs a straight razor, I would say at minimum every 2 weeks.
I
Really, it
bet
should be
you
every week.
I bet you I could do a straight razor on you.
I mean, yeah, it's just like, it's kind of scraping, but delicately. It's
I
shaving.
got one of those things.
Huh?
I use them
Yeah,
on
but
my
can
face.
you cut yourself with that thing?
Sure. You can cut yourself with anything.
I have nipples, Greg. Can you milk me?
That's exactly what I was thinking.
All right, let's
I'm
take
gonna
the
blow my
shot, Carla
nose.
Marie. Oh, she's going to blow her nose first. Ooh, as a cosmetologist, we cannot use a straight razor, but you can
You
with a
need-
barber's license.
So insane.
Interesting.
I can't see
And
it.
Amanda B., what state is that in? Yeah, Fred the Mailman knows what's up. Straight razor is where it's at.
Guys,
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay. Here we go. Oh, I got a much larger cup than I anticipated.
don't fill it.
I don't know. How many glugs is good? You know what I'm talking about? When you're
Glug,
pouring?
glug.
Glug, 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 glug. Like how many
Uh,
glugs? 6 glugs?
Shout out to Claire who got me tissues for my birthday. They really have come in handy these days. So thank you. I don't have to use toilet paper to blow my nose.
Let's see. Texas Chris says having a significant other shave you can be a very nice experience. Carla Marie's used the buzzer on my neck when I'm in a pinch, you know?
I'd call it a nice experience.
I mean, I was pretty terrified. Mainly because I thought you were going to throw off like the boxiness in the back, you know? All right, Carla,
I look
mix up
full
your
librarian right now.
You do. Mix up your shot and let's rip this bad boy.
Woo! Hey Scotty, I was listening to the Office Ladies podcast yesterday. They had Steve Carell on, and he said that his favorite place that he's ever visited in America was Pittsburgh. He thinks it's such a cool city. So I was like, okay, fine, I'll go.
I feel like that reaction is what people usually say when I tell people one of my favorite cities to visit was Cleveland. Everyone kind of looks at me like,
reaction?
Cleveland? Interesting.
Yeah, Cleveland's pretty dope.
But I've had a great time every time I've been there.
Here. So this is the cereal shot. National Cereal Day was this week. Shout out to our friend Serial Killers podcast. Ooh, Ash Snails. If you have cool cereal in Ireland that we don't have in America, let me know and I'll pay for a label for you to send it to our friends who host a cereal podcast.
Real quick, the question that I asked before about how many glugs should I pour, according to my brother who I believe is a licensed bartender, he has bartended. He said, count the seconds. Each second is close to a shot. I think I did about a second. All right, Carla Marie.
I'll be chasing these with Fruity Pebs.
Oh, explain everyone. Did you explain the shot to everyone?
It's a cereal shot. It's got some fun things in it.
You are in rare form. Carla Marie, cheers to you. Cheers to everyone who supported the stream. And cheers to our friends at Seattle Cocktail Club. Ooh. Oh, 4 seconds is a shot. Interesting.
It's called Fruit Loop, and it's got huckleberry vodka, limoncello, blue curacao, and half. You could probably do it without the half and half.
Yeah, but then you wouldn't have like the milky consistency.
Yeah, but
speaking of which, I can't take, even if I was in Seattle today, I couldn't take that shot because I explained this on Monday. But in the Syrian Orthodox Church, when you do Lent, the official church Lent is giving up essentially all animal products. You go pescatarian, for lack of a better term. And I guess that's the perfect term. So for a perfect term, that's what you do. You go pescatarian.
Or as I call it, aquarium.
Or you go aquarium like Carla Marie says. So I started that on Monday, which I thought was the right day that our Lent started because Orthodox Easter and Catholic Easter are usually different weeks. Turns out I was a week late, but one of the reasons I decided to do it was in honor of my uncle, who was a Syrian Orthodox priest like my whole life. He passed away last week. The reason I'm in New Jersey is for his funeral services this weekend. And let me tell you, it is not easy being a vegan or whatever pescatarian that I'm trying to be because it's no dairy, no meats. It is tough, especially when you travel.
And you can't have eggs.
Correct. Yeah, I guess the Catholics can have eggs.
Yes, because like as I explained in the Catholic Church, I gotta find that meme. How like eggs are okay. The whole thing about like Catholic Church is like yes, but it's not grown into like a full life yet, so it's okay to eat an egg. And then people are like, but unborn babies. How do you feel about those? That whole thing.
Yeah.
Some people in here the other day knew what I was talking about when I started to bring it up, but. Yeah, we can have eggs. And fish. But every day you can, except Fridays, you can have meat. So like.
So you just do Fridays?
Just do Fridays.
And
it's no meat.
In the Syrian Orthodox, or I guess I don't know if this works with Greek Orthodox or Russian Orthodox or whatever else, because I think there's Indian and Ethiopian Orthodox as well. But in our church, if you wanted to do like a official Lent, but the light version of it, you would do the first week of Lent, the last week of Lent, and then every Wednesday and Friday. You do the same thing where it's no animal products at all.
So
or you could
I've
do the thing
decided
where you just choose what you give up. That's obviously an option as well.
I'm going to do this with you for the most part, meaning that I will
Oh yeah?
focus on making those kinds of meals at home. Also because I want to take out some meat from my diet because apparently that could cause kidney stones.
Oh.
Not that I'm going to stop a kidney stone from growing over the next few weeks, but I was like, you know what? Let me give it a whirl. So I asked Chat GPT to make me a week's worth of meals that are low in meat, but then they did it with no meat. So I'm just going to add meat when I feel like I need it, or I'll do fish because you can have fish.
Yes, I can have fish.
Okay.
So a lot of sushi is on the menu.
I tried making salmon last night. I made salmon a few weeks ago. We both liked it. Whatever I did last night was trash. So it went right in the trash. And then I just made egg fried rice.
Yeah, but I couldn't have egg fried rice.
You could have the rice.
Just rice. Yeah. I've been having a lot of falafel. So there's a place, Shawarma Time, that opened up actually not too far from us. So I've been doing that a lot. And then when I got to New Jersey yesterday, my dad had 2 falafel sandwiches ready for me, which was fantastic. Awesome. But it's tough, especially when you travel. But the one thing I did learn, and this is the most New Jersey thing that I have ever seen. When I landed in New Jersey at Newark Airport, after my 5-hour flight, in every airport kiosk that sold any sort of like snacks, beverages, they had pre-workout. And I thought to myself, this is the most New Jersey thing I have ever seen. The fact that they have pre-workout C4 at every single stand here.
This is why people are trying to open the emergency doors on airplanes.
That's true. Yeah, you shouldn't drink C4 and sit on an airplane.
I mean, come on.
Your brain is going to start to itch and then you're going to freak out. But I had no issues on my flight, thankfully. I was probably the only issue on the flight because I was watching yesterday. Was the first day of the Big East tournament, and Seton Hall is in the Big East. That's where I went to school. Shout out Seton Hall. And they were playing DePaul. And if anyone watched that game, it was a heartbreaker of a game. And it was very close the whole time. I think the largest lead the entire time was 9 points, which is not very much. And it was back and forth. There were a bunch of lead changes. And at the very end, Seton Hall blew the game in the final 10 seconds. And I was trying so hard to just
I was like, how did you do this on the airplane?
Just stay composed. And I think I did a decent job, but there were definitely times where, I jumped, I flinched. And when you have a beard like this and you look like me, you can't be all flinchy and erratic on a flight.
Especially this week after that guy on United.
But man, it was painful. And then I got off the flight and I had to see all these stupid digital ads for Rutgers University.
I got to talk to them.
Why?
Because they got to put me.
Why? You don't even have a job.
I am an entrepreneur.
Pay a ton of money to come to our school and then go live stream.
I'm an entrepreneur. I do have a job, actually. Dick, I work with the NFL.
Part-time.
I think they would appreciate that very much.
Part-time in Seattle.
So
you can go to University of Washington and do that.
No, but I didn't go there.
I know.
I'm not smart enough to get into University of Washington.
Oh, man. I guess a lot of people did watch, or a handful of people at least watched that Seton Hall game. And, man, it was painful. This is a question from 83 Marie Smith, Carla Marie. Are you going to be working with the Seahawks again next year?
Is this an official announcement?
I don't know. I don't know. Is there an official announcement?
I should put out a press release. Yes.
Okay.
I had a call with them last week, and we were talking to all kinds of ideas for next season. I'm very pumped.
So what are some of the ideas?
Well, I said we should play 2-second tunes at a game. And I said...
Do we get credit for it, though?
I said, only if we can shout out the Morning Show podcast.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm pretty pumped. But we are going to do different kinds of things. Like this year was kind of like as I said, a rebuilding year because it was
Mm-hmm.
also for the players, them too. But it was kind of figuring out the whole entertainment team, which I also found out this year that I believe the Seahawks are like number 1 or number 2 when it comes to fan in-game entertainment out of all of the NFL because
Who ranks that? Like, where do you
so
get that?
fans of each stadium do like a questionnaire,
Okay.
and it's like, how do you feel about food? How do you feel about whatever? And because not many NFL teams have in-game entertainment, like a lot of times at halftime they do nothing. Where like we'll have corgi races
Mm.
and the like 2-minute timeout games that we play and like incorporate fans and do prizes. They don't do that. Like I know the Giants don't have anyone. They don't
Yeah,
do anything.
I haven't been to a Giants game in a long time, but I used to go with my dad. He had season tickets for like 2 or 3 years. But I will say in Vegas, Vegas is insane. I've been to 2 games at the
They're
stadium
probably
in Vegas.
number 1.
They've got to be number 1 because the first time I went, Dead Mouse was the halftime show. And it wasn't even like a playoff game. It was a regular season game against the Chiefs. And then this most recent year that I went, this most recent season, Sublime with Rome was performing at halftime. And it was great because Sublime is the perfect 3-song set because they've got like a handful of songs that the general population knows. Obviously, if you're a Sublime fan, you know more. But they had the perfect amount of crossover hits where like you heard all of them and then they went away. And that was it. But Dead Mouse, I mean, I think for their first preseason game, they had Carlos Santana. And it was a preseason game. Yeah.
Well, I would only know one song.
Going to a game in Vegas is an experience. That stadium is something else.
I know. I do want to get to a game there at some point.
We were going to go this year. Originally, we were going to go to the game against Houston because it was the Sunday after When We Were Young festival. Like we were going to go to When We Were Young on Saturday.
We didn't. But we had to go that day.
Yeah, so we were going to go to When We Were Young on Saturday, and then the Houston Texan game on Sunday. But everything got screwed up, and we ended up selling those tickets.
My friend.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay. I'm so out of breath.
What do we have here? You're typing as me. What are you saying?
Not funny things.
Oh, okay.
All right. Are we moving to the list?
Yeah, let's get to the list. So the first thing on the list today, Carla Marie.
Thank you for the hype train.
Yeah, thank you guys very much for the support. First thing on the list for today is scariest thing I have ever heard.
So, let me tell you about this. I haven't even told Anthony this yet. Yesterday I was at Orange Theory, and before class started, I was sitting next to this woman who is actually the same woman I saved. Remember last year I talked about I pulled up to park at Orange Theory, and a class was finishing before me, and a woman walked out, and then a homeless guy was like yelling and screaming, and she was like, "Can I get in your car?" And we didn't know each other. So like that was how we met, and now like I know like her group of friends and stuff all because of that. But she has a 16 and an 18-year-old, and we're sitting next to each other, and she knows about the morning show podcast. She knows about Twitch. And she was like, so like, you know, what's the end goal? Like, tell me about radio. Her friend works, who I work out with as well, works here at our local Fox station. She does the weather. So she understands entertainment. So she was asking me a lot of questions, and we started talking about radio. And I was like, it's just crazy how this next generation doesn't really understand radio. And she's like, well, what do you mean? And I said, there was this one kid who we asked about what radio station he told us the podcast he listens to was 100.7. Like he thought the radio was a podcast. And she was like, that's crazy. She's like, you know what, let me text my kids, they're 16 and 18. Let me see, and I'm just gonna say, do you listen to the radio? She's like, I don't even know. I'm like, well, she's like, they don't listen when I'm around. So I guess her son drives, he at 16, because here in Washington it's lawless. And she's like, do you listen to the radio when you're in your car? And he said, I don't think I have one of those.
A radio?
And she says this to me as we're walking into class. She's like, he just said, and she like looked at her watch. He said, I don't think I have one of those. She's like, oh my God. I was like, exactly.
Listen, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt though, because in the Mazda that we share, it is actually difficult to not only find the radio tuner for AM or FM, but to navigate it.
I can't. I every time I try to do it, all I do now is listen to 93.3 FM, the sports station.
Yeah.
Which I want to. Those are the people that I actually care about here on the radio, and
but
that's all I can listen to.
Navigating it is not easy in new cars. I mean, my parents, they've got like the crossover Mercedes, whatever. I don't know the letter and numbers they use, but the entertainment system is actually, if you're not using Android Auto or CarPlay, because that's what the Apple one is, right? Mm-hmm. CarPlay. Yeah. It's not easy.
No, and what's cool about Android Auto and CarPlay, though, is like when you plug in your phone, it takes over the whole system. Mm-hmm. It is very much like the future, like what we expected. Like you plug in and it's everything you, which I'd love, but it's just so crazy that like I just try to tell people, yeah, you may, like my brother, right? I'm like, you may say that people your age don't listen to podcasts, but like no one younger, unless their parents make them listen to the radio, are actively listening or going out of their way like we did as kids to listen to the radio. And I'm talking about like 17 and under at this point.
And I do think companies like iHeartRadio have done a good job of saying, hey, we're going to be this app company or this digital company and kind of get rid of the radio branding, because as long as people download the app, if you download the Odyssey app or the iHeartRadio app, and you can listen to all of the same content, it doesn't matter if you're tuning in like with an actual dial.
Right.
And figuring it out, as long as you get the content, as long as they can sell your time to their advertisers.
Well, she's going to let me know what her daughter said, so I'll report back on that one. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. But I mean, we've talked about the story before, and I was telling her this, how cars of the future may not have AM, FM radio. You may have to pay extra, the same way it's like, do you want heated seats and do you want the radio? Yeah. But there is government legislation that may say, no, you legally have to put a radio in the car, because this is how we will get in touch with everyone when the world goes to shit.
Yeah, I do think that is the one thing that will save just that format, if you will, is it is, especially in emergency situations, it is a more reliable form of communication. And that's why if you're driving on the highway, oftentimes there are specific stations that are for truckers or for weather alerts or for things like that. Because asking someone, especially in an emergency situation, to download an app, they might not have access to whatever app store that is. They might not have their phones. Like, having a radio is super cheap. And I think in most emergency kits, it's still suggested to have.
I have one. I have
a crank radio or something like that, where you get a little bit of power and you can tune into whatever AM or FM station you want.
I can tell you who is going to tell us here locally what's going on.
What do you mean?
I guess they would run whatever the emergency alert is, because I can tell you what, no one who works at that radio station is going to go in and report.
Oh yeah, but they would do kind of like I think it's very similar to what Elvis's show did on Z100 during 9/11. Is they said, we're not playing any music. We're going to restream essentially a news station, and you'll get all of your information that way. Or we'll have someone live in the studio. It's definitely something that will stay around for a while until a suitable replacement is found. There just isn't one yet.
No. Scotty said, I have definitely noticed an influx of Christian radio stations. It seems like they are kind of buying up failing radio stations. Mm-hmm. There have been a lot.
Isn't that who bought PLJ here in New York? Was a Christian station?
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. It can be funny because I don't listen. I've never listened to a Christian music radio station or a Christian talk station, but they're making money. There's a reason they're putting them on there. They're getting their advertising dollars or their budgets from someone.
From the He Gets Us campaign.
What was that?
The He Gets Us campaign.
Or that. Yeah. Let's see. Ashley said, I don't listen to radio anymore.
She also said the only radio she listened to was us.
Oh, cool. Well, I obviously appreciate that. I think, and we've talked about this before. It's one of the reasons it's so hard, especially today. And it started when we started our show, but it's definitely more difficult today than it was in 2016. It's so hard to start a new radio show because people are already in their habits. If you listen to Elvis Duran in the morning show and you have at any point in your life, you know the station you're going to, you know the podcast you're listening to, right? Though you know already. But to get someone new, to get a new listener to a new radio station and a new morning show or whatever, it is difficult. There are a lot of roadblocks in the way today, more than there were even 5 years ago.
I was gonna say about what you just said. Yeah, but there are more new shows popping up. They just don't really.
Yeah, it's
stick
just hard
around.
to get traction.
Yeah.
Let's see. Fred the Mailman said, my radio stays on 1 a.m. station. News, weather, sports, traffic on the commute to work, and the same way home. Everything else is podcasts or Amazon Music. And that's the
He's
good...
also listening to content all day while delivering mail.
Yeah, there is no one that listens to more things in their ears than... I'll give you a two-way tie. Andre on Long Island and Fred in Cleveland.
Yeah,
and they do the same thing. They're both delivering mail, listening to all sorts of stuff.
Mail carriers, if you will. Letter carriers. I don't know what the proper term is.
Awesome people. I think that's the term. Yes.
Someone asked, how do these Christian radio... Oh, Mello said, how do they get this money to buy up these stations? And I'll tell you how, Mello. By you putting $1 in the basket at church.
I don't think that's how it works. Fred the Mailman, this is a good term for your mail carriers. They are mail escorts. You get it? Mail. Okay. They escort your mail.
Martha said, my mailman doesn't use headphones. His phone is just playing his podcast out loud. Okay, I talked about this. Actually, I don't know where she went, but we had a mail carrier who, I don't know if I guess I would sometimes hear the other person on the phone, but and I don't even know what she was saying because she wasn't speaking English. So I was like, well, I can't even eavesdrop, lady. And she would be right outside my window because my window is right by like the group mailbox and just yelling.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, well, the mail's here.
Is this the same mail carrier or mail escort that slams everything shut like as loud as
they all
possibly
slam, but
can?
she was Slammy McSlamster.
The other thing, before we move on to the next topic, so you started this, Carla Marie, the scariest thing I've ever heard, by talking about how your friend at Orange Theory, her kids don't even know if they have a radio in their car. That's how far removed from that technology they are. We talked about this on the last show, and we were talking about all of the things that are kind of antiquated now, right? Yeah. The like AOL Instant Messenger, dial-up, basically, all of that stuff.
Phones replaced all of these things.
It is, and I talked about this a little bit, but it is scary how fast new technology becomes normal, because just setting up this show today, because I don't have all of the regular equipment we've had. If you remember, we have a thing called a Stream Deck. It's a box that's like this big. You have it in front of you, Carla Marie? Yeah, that's the Stream Deck. And on that, you can press little buttons and they activate different things. I've only had that since January. So really 2 full months. And one of those was February, which is barely a month. Man, I got so used to that thing that setting up the show today and changing things, going live, all of it, it was almost foreign to me. And that was only 2 months of having this little box that does the same exact things that I do on my laptop.
So the fact that you bring that up, I'm so glad you said that. We talked about how technology and how fast it's growing.
Yeah.
So that was part of the conversation she and I were having yesterday at Orange Theory before, which led to the radio conversation about her kids. And I'm going to kind of butcher this because it's the game of telephone now, but she told me she was listening to a podcast, and she also warned me she was going to butcher it. But there is like this, not theory, I'm sure your brother will know, but there used to be this idea that technology, innovation, and society could only move as quick as your digestive system. Meaning, back in the day, if you were taking your horse and on a trail, you would have to stop doing everything to forage, to make your food, eat, and get back. If
Okay.
you were at a steel mill, whatever it is, you had to stop doing what you were doing. It's just a big bang. Sorry. To go out of your way to make your meal and eat. So it stopped everything. And I
So
was like, yeah, but
progress
now
stopped so that you could eat?
basically.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm just eating on my phone, on a call, whatever. She's like, yeah, and that's exactly what this is about. How like it just doesn't stop anymore. And progress only used to move as quickly as humans' digestive system.
Yeah, I think I can add on to that too. I think early in, like, we're talking ancient prehistoric times. Um the reason innovations took longer, much to what you were saying, was like you had to stop down to do things, right?
And sleep and
when
rest.
when we were hunter gatherers, you spent most of your time looking for food, building shelter, worrying about safety. There wasn't a lot of free time for open and creative thought. Then, when we moved to being more agriculturally based societies, to farmers, you now had two things really. Number one, you had a steady supply of food. You knew that what you were growing, unless there was some crazy natural disaster or a drought or something, you knew that you had food to rely on the next day. The second thing you had was free time, because you were waiting for these things to grow instead of going out searching for them, going out hunting. You had domesticated animals. So now you had time to think
And innovate.
and then innovate. And that's where, and then it starts to snowball, right? Then you have
Innovation creates innovation.
Yeah. But yeah, it is. I mean, it does make sense.
I
You
gotta
can't
find out what
really think
podcast.
creatively. And this is what we talk about all the time with even business today. If you're so focused on your to-do list, you oftentimes don't have the energy or capacity to think about the creative ways to solve your problems. You're knocking out that to-do list. You need sometimes, which is why a commute is actually sometimes beneficial, because you have time
It's
in your
almost like the
car.
digestive part of
Yeah.
like it's the one time of day when you're that's what scares me about self-driving cars is people are just going to be on their phones and not like decompressing, and we're all just going to be robotic psychos.
Yeah, I think it's going to end up being similar to like those scenes in WALL-E where they're on the spaceship and
Just
you
eating,
have all this
drinking.
extra time to be productive, but you end up just, and we all do it, right? Like I'm super guilty of it. We just end up watching dumb content, right? You just end up watching something else, giving someone else your time to sell it and make money off of it instead of thinking creatively or working on ways to push forward.
I follow a girl on Instagram who disconnected her Netflix, like unsubscribed and everything. And she like keeps posting about all the different things she's done with her time now. And I'm like, tempting, but I good.
Maybe once I finish Tulsa King and then the second season of House of the Dragon comes out, and then once Yellowstone is over, maybe then I'll disconnect everything.
Okay.
Um,
Sawyer said, I'm supposed to be reviewing a PPT for work, and here I am consuming content, but I love it. And we don't count.
I think this is different though, because I think this is more of an open discussion. And one of the things we've tried to build, and I started thinking of this concept, and you may have heard me say it on the Morning Show podcast a couple of times, but when I was at the Twitch Summit thing that I went to in Los Angeles, I think that was in January, right? One of the things that the moderator of the entire session tried to get us to do is like think of why your page exists, because oftentimes when an advertiser or a partner or anyone asks a streamer what you do, the first thing they say is, "Oh, I stream Valorant," or "I stream Magic the Gathering." They pick the game that they stream or the content, or I stream about sports, whatever it is, and that's what they lead with. And his challenge for us was, no, why is your audience there with you? Because a ton of people have talk shows. A ton of people have streams where they stream a video game. Why is your audience with you? What do you do while you're streaming? And what I came up with was kind of, being lonely sucks. And we try to alleviate that. And I think it really came from when the pandemic hit and everyone was home and we started streaming. And that's when a lot of our friends here in the chat started knowing one another.
It's cool.
And I think that's kind of our basis is, yeah, this is content, obviously, and we're going to make money off of it, hopefully one day. But this is a place where you can go when you don't feel like being alone.
Here we are.
Here
Big
we are.
hugs. Big furry hugs today. You got shakes on a plane, but well said. Lots of people saying very nice things now.
Felipe from Miami, Florida said, from my end, I would say because there's a virtual community with this audience. Oh, I just minimized my screen. I can't see anything. There we go.
I think we're going to need to do guest star more often and get like more people on the screen so everyone can like see them.
Mm-hmm. I'm 100% down for that. Is that something, we could ask the chat, and maybe if someone wants to put up a poll, you can do that. Would you want to join us if we did more? Think of it like our radio show where we do topics that you can call in, but you can hop up on screen with us too, or just use your voice. Either way.
Mm-hmm. All right. Unfortunately, everyone, you have to use Google Chrome.
Yeah. Are people using other browsers? Just Apple people use Safari?
It just makes life so much easier because it's all cohesive with my iPhone.
What do you mean?
Like, I also have that same Safari on my phone, so all my
gotcha.
bookmarks and everything else, which I'm sure it's the same with Chrome, but like it's just easier to then you use messages and you can send it, and it's just
it would be similar. I saw Mellow FM wrote like Zoom calls, great idea. So guest star is actually what Carla Marie is using right now. It's a video conferencing platform that Twitch team built into their own Twitch platform. So we go in on the back end of the Twitch website in our like channel dashboard, and we can pull up all the people who are subscribed or following our channel. And there's a way, like, I'll do it right now so you can see it. We're not going to actually bring anyone on. But if I go to, where is it? Here we go. Invite guests. Oh, requests. So I can turn this on. And if you subscribe to the channel, I can do different things. But right now, if you subscribe to the channel, you'll see an option if you go into the chat to request to join the stream. Let me know if you end up seeing that. Poll is up. Thank you very much, Claire. Jen said, I'm in and use Chrome because Jen is smart. Okay, Lisa said she can see it. Perfect. Okay, so you can see it. And now I can do that or we, I should say, can do that for anyone. It could be anyone that's watching this stream and in the chat. It could be followers. It can be subscribers. I think we would start with subscribers to make sure that we're not getting like spammed by some crazy person.
But your account has to be verified, meaning you have to have a phone number attached to your Twitch account, not because we're going to see that or use that. That's just how Twitch verifies you're a real person. Yeah.
You know what we could do? I want to see if this works, Carla Marie, if we're in different places. If anyone wants to hit the request button, I will see it on my end here. And I think I can bring you in with just voice. I'm not going to try to surprise anyone and put your picture up on the camera just yet. But someone hit that request button, and I should see the requests popping up here.
I can't breathe out of my nose. I take a sip and I can't breathe. I'm sorry.
Are you drowning every time? Okay, so I see Mergen 1990. And if I hit add, Mergen, I hope you're ready. If I hit add, it says waiting for guest. I guess I could probably share the screen. Whatever.
Oh, Jill, make sure you go watch on YouTube. It's going to be a great show. There's so much more.
What happened?
She has to leave.
Oh, okay. Okay, so now it says Mergen is getting ready. But I want to see if I have the option to either bring in just audio or video and audio. Ashley, I see your request as well. No, let me hit Ashley and add that. Okay, so now Mergen, it says I can slot the guest, so I can put you into... No, I don't want to put you into slot 1. Oh, here. Now, will this change everything is the question. No. All right. Slot 2.
It says she's muted
It says you're muted.
and still backstage.
Yeah, no, I know you're backstage. Okay, so I'm going to turn the camera off and say show on stream. All right, can you hear us? Oh, maybe it's not going to work.
Okay. Yay, technology.
Whatever. We'll figure it out later. I'll do a stream where we just test this out.
Sorry,
Oh, it's
Morgan.
my fault.
No.
There you are. So you can hear
Only
me.
I
Can you
think
hear
I
Carla
can.
Marie?
I can.
Carla Marie, you got to say something.
I can hear her. She's super low.
And now the question is, can everyone else hear?
Yes, I believe they can.
I'm going to keep calling you Morgan. So Morgan, can you count to 5 for us? Oh, did we lose her?
Okay, I figured it out. It's because I'm on my phone. Hello?
Hello,
Can you hear
hello.
Oh,
Uh-oh.
why did I disappear?
I don't know. We're all figuring this out for the first time. So there's, it says,
Okay.
Oh, connection is unstable. That's why.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
at least we know like the functionality works.
Yeah. And that's cool that we can both hear her regardless of where we are.
Well, yeah.
I love it.
So how many people can you have in at once?
I think, let's see, guests. We can have up to 5 guests, so 6 people.
We can host a full game show.
Yeah. I think that's what people are actually doing. Claire's requesting. This is kind of fun. I love new technology because then I start thinking about different ways we can use it. Like Carla Marie, you said, the game show.
Oh, yeah. I love that idea that people are saying weekly panels.
That'd be cool.
Kind of like the sports show with all the people.
What? Oh, Around the Horn?
Yeah.
I do love Around the Horn. All right, you know what? We're going to end requests so that we can move on with the show. But thank you
Well,
to
I bet
Ashley.
you,
What?
because you're also not on our internet, it's probably not the best.
Oh, me here?
Yeah.
I think my connection is actually pretty good. But I'm going to end requests, turn that off, and I'm going to go back. Thank you to Ashley for requesting, Claire, and Morgan. Thank you very much.
Cool.
Back to the list. Carla Marie.
Shakes on a plane?
So this was really, we touched on this earlier. I was losing my mind yesterday on the plane watching this Seton Hall basketball game. And I felt kind of bad for the woman who was in the aisle seat in my row because there was no one between us. But I kept like jumping and I'd put my hands up and I'd cover my eyes or I'd cover my mouth.
At least you weren't being like, "Ah!" like
No,
you
I
normally are.
wasn't. Thankfully, I wasn't screaming. I may have made 1 or 2 gasps that were like audible. But I looked like a lunatic, especially for the final, 5 minutes of the game. And then there was like this crazy thing that happened at the very end of the game, which we didn't know if Seton Hall won or lost because they reviewed a play. They gave Seton Hall 2 points and then took them away. And it was a whole thing.
Drama.
It was a very high drama game. And I could not have looked like more of a Looney Tune on that plane. I was exhausted by the end of
Scotty
it.
brings up a great point. Did you turn to the woman and be like, I'm just watching my college basketball team?
No, I didn't say anything to her.
You definitely scared the hell out of her.
Probably. It's just, there's a lot of like jerky motions. But that was it. That's all I wanted to bring up. And we talked about it a little bit earlier. This is on the list. I'm not sure why. Do you see it, Carla Marie?
Big toothpaste?
Yeah.
Okay.
Explain this.
I'm about to rock everybody's socks with this fact about big toothpaste.
Oh, so you're talking about the industry
Like
of toothpaste, not a big toothpaste tube.
Correct.
Gotcha.
Like big pharma, big toothpaste.
Let's hear it.
So I went to the dentist yesterday, and my hygienist, who is also the tooth fairy, I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram, check it out. She listened to the morning show podcast, so she was like, you know how many times I went to go tell you things that I know from your podcast? She's like, I find myself doing that all day. And we were talking about, I forget, one of the stories, and she's like, you know what's a fact about the tooth and dental industry? And we were talking about scheduling my appointment. She's like, you don't have to come every 6 months. And I was like, what? She's like, that was a commercial. I'm like, what do you mean? Colgate went to the American Dental Association
Mhm.
years ago and said, if you give us your official stamp of approval, as in the American Dental Association approves of Colgate,
Yeah.
in all of our TV commercials, Colgate will say, make sure you see your dentist twice a year. And they said, okay.
Oh, wow.
You
Here's the
don't
thing.
have, she's like,
I
some
kinda
people
like it,
may
though.
actually, she's like, some people may have to go less than that. Some people may even have to go more. It all depends on the person. There is no, everyone has to go 2 times a year thing. Because I've gone a year and been fine. She's like, this one was like 8 months and everything looked great. So if you want to do another 8 months, you can do that. She's like, especially if you don't have your own insurance
Yeah.
that's paying for it. It's just crazy. I do. My teeth do feel like,
Yeah, I
so nice.
love going to the dentist.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, especially when I'm not getting drilled. If it's just like a cleaning, big fan.
I know she was like, when's Anthony coming here?
Soon. Very soon. Hopefully in the next like 2 weeks I'll be there. Because
But
it's been
you
about
have
a
to make
year.
an appointment.
What?
You have to make an appointment.
Yeah. I'll make an appointment in the next 2 weeks. They'll be
But,
able
like,
to see me. I have faith.
Could you imagine big toothpaste?
I imagine that with almost everything.
I don't trust anybody.
You know the other thing they do? Big toothpaste. The big toothpaste conspiracy theorists here. In toothpaste commercials, they will put like a whole line of toothpaste on top of the toothbrush. It's
You don't
entirely too much toothpaste. Not that it's going to do anything bad. You just don't need that much. You just need
And
like
then
a little dollop.
But if everyone starts doing that
Mhm.
whole thing,
Yep.
then what? Then you go through your toothpaste faster.
Exactly.
But now I got like with my electric one, it's just a little circle. So I just put a little dollop.
Oh yeah, the Oral-B.
Yeah.
That's basically all you need is like the top part of it, which is what the Oral-B thing will give you.
Yeah. Like,
Let's see. So Colgate commercial for all the commercial insurance is covered cleaning twice a year. Yeah. So it's interesting
know
though
what
that Colgate commercial then basically caused the insurance industry to give you 2 cleanings a year. Like that's usually included with everyone's.
was it 2 of mine?
Yeah, it was definitely 2 with ours. You could go twice a year.
Huh.
But it's interesting. Sometimes things they seep into the way we run our lives and they stay there forever, whether they were there for a good reason or not. What are you nodding your head at?
It's Tacoma Swifty confirmed what she was saying. And I was like, I got you.
Oh, what was it?
She said, sorry, it didn't make sense, but yes, you got it right.
Okay, yeah. No, I figured out what she was saying. Oh, okay.
So-
Lenny from Queen said, Adam Ruins Everything, the TV show, told me that mouthwash was a lie too. Interesting. Why is
I love
mouthwash a lie?
Your brother brings up exactly what my hygienist compared it to yesterday.
What?
How the 3-month salary for an engagement ring, that was De Beers,
Yeah.
the diamond company,
Yeah.
and put that in their commercials and started saying, actually, yes, there were engagement rings and rings to show marriage like back in medieval times, but De Beers was the one that was like, no, we are going to make this. If you get her a ring,
Mhm.
this is proof that you love her.
Well, with
like
De Beers,
that,
it was more the diamond than the ring
Yes.
itself. De Beers
Correct.
was specifically because there were wedding gifts of precious stones and gold and other precious metals for centuries. De Beers made it a thing to have a diamond engagement ring, and it was a huge. I mean, it's still one of the most. It's probably the most successful marketing campaign of all time.
is it Netflix explained?
Yes, Netflix explained
diamonds?
does a really good thing about diamonds. Yeah.
Crazy.
Mhm.
It's so good. Lenny from Queen said the whole mouthwash is that halitosis was something the mouthwash industry made up to scare people to buy mouthwash.
Huh.
Yeah, halitosis is just bad breath. Like,
Yeah. I mean, but which does very much exist.
yeah. But like the mouth is gross, of course.
Yeah. But again, I'm a big fan of mouthwash too, so both of those things I'm okay with. Let's see. Jolly Russian Buddha said diamonds and
Nope.
what?
Are you kidding?
Oh, okay. All right. I won't read that. You're right, Carla Marie. You are right. What else do we have on the list? Actually, I just took the list off. Ringtones. This is the last thing on the list. That's you.
Oh. Yesterday I was shopping I'll get into the store in a second. But I was shopping, and a man who was working at the store, his phone goes off, and he had a ringtone.
What was the ringtone? Did you recognize it?
I had to like Google it because I sang the whole song in my head, and all I hear is, "I'm here without you, baby." But
Oh,
you're
and
not.
you're still on my. That is "Here Without You" is the name of the song.
Yep.
It's not Goo Goo Dolls.
You're still on my lonely
Oh man,
mind. I think about you, baby.
who is it?
3 Doors Down.
3 Doors Down. Yeah.
And I was like, I mean, dude, first of all, a ringtone? A ringtone. Not only is your phone sound on, but it is a song. And 3 Doors Down, who is calling you? This is so sad.
I love it. Good for them. We should bring back ringtones. Although now
you know what? Recently, I've been thinking about it. So I'm like, it would be nice to like hear a song.
Well, for me, I mean, I wouldn't have a ringtone because my phone's never making an actual noise. I hate it.
No.
Unless it's an alarm, but that's rare.
Why did I have my phone sound on recently? I was waiting for.
Was it a
call
doctor's?
for some. No, but remember, I was like, this is so annoying. All of the noises that my phone makes all day.
Yeah.
But the store that I was at is just get ready because we are about to dive into a new world of Dollar Tree Marie.
Oh, really?
I just the other day was like, I need to get some organization stuff. I don't know what made me think of this. And I was like, I follow all these like Costco accounts and Target accounts on Instagram. Let me see if there's a Dollar Tree account.
Okay.
And there is, but it's harder because a lot of the products aren't like brand products that they can like link back to on the website.
Yeah.
But I was like, I'm going to Dollar Tree and I'm going to walk around and see what I need from there. And I did it. I spent $22. I filmed a video. I might do a thing. $22. Tones, do you know what I got? I got 8 solar lamps for outside that you stick in the ground in the garden. Jury's out if they're going to work or not.
Okay.
I got potting soil, which I needed to plant all the cat grass in the house. $1.25 for a bag of potting soil.
I have such a hard time with dollar stores. I think for very specific things, they're great. If you need like notebooks for back to school, phenomenal. Okay. Go to the dollar store. But there's also just a lot of junk. Like with electronics, I am very weary because there's just a lot of stuff that doesn't work properly or doesn't work long.
There's not electronics there.
Oh, because I'm thinking of like a Five Below that I've been to a lot.
No, please.
What?
But
you just said you bought lamps.
They're solar. It's not electronic. That's the whole. Do you know what electronic versus solar is?
Do you know how they work?
With solar. There's no plug. And I can return them. Anyway. There were also people paying with full change while I was there. Like coins. So that was interesting.
It's $1. What did you expect? It's a Dollar General or Dollar Tree?
They paid $2.76.
Which one was it?
Dollar Tree.
Dollar Tree. Yeah, what'd you expect? It's a dollar store. I mean, people aren't rolling up with their Rolls Royces and their credit cards to a Dollar Tree.
Okay, anyway, I got some organization things. So the fridge is a little more organized, and I got little clear things for like beauty products. So much more organized. It is.
So you just bought a lot of plastic junk.
No, it actually is helping because now things don't go to waste. Things aren't stuck in the back of the fridge where I don't know that they're expiring. Like the cheese that you left that is moldy.
Oh, what are you going to do? I can't eat cheese anymore.
Yeah,
well,
it's all
until
going in
Orthodox Easter.
Thank you.
Until Orthodox Easter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you. Lenny from Queens. Solar isn't electronic. I need to tell my engineering professor that.
Let him know.
It is electronic.
No, you were trying to say it like I'm buying DVD players.
No.
That is definitely what you meant.
No, but I guarantee you they sell charging cables at Dollar Tree.
I didn't see any.
BS. I guarantee you they sell them. And they're probably not $1.
Maybe everything is $1.25.
So they're not $1.
No, that's the whole. Did you miss that whole thing last year?
No, I
How
do
it was
remember
Joe
that.
Biden's fault that the Dollar Tree was now $1.25.
Also, yeah, great question from Ashley. Who buys DVD players anymore?
I don't know.
Where would you even
Apparently.
do? Where I'm sure like Best Buy probably has
I got
some
one
DVD
at
players.
Target or Amazon a few
Yeah, but
years
how
ago.
old was your DVD player?
No, I'm. What do you mean? I just got it a few years ago, and my parents visited so that we could watch all the home movies that we got put on DVDs.
Oh, okay.
Because
Why didn't-
apparently my sister did that instead of going to like USB.
Yeah,
or
USB or a cloud or something. Because
They
even
do
DVDs
sell
have an
batteries.
expiration date.
Tori Grace, they do sell batteries at Dollar Tree.
Bam. Electronic.
Yeah, but they work.
Yeah. I just
People
I
wouldn't. They
have a
wouldn't
hard
be there if
time-
they didn't work.
I have a hard time with Dollar Tree because I feel like they're just selling a lot of junk. But like I said, I think for certain things, it's great. Decorations, notebooks, stationary things, like
Ugh.
those are pretty easy to figure out if they're going to work or not.
Scotty says the batteries there suck.
Oh, well, there you go.
I don't buy wires from places like that because I'm convinced that somehow they're stealing my information. Like you said, Dollar Tree.
Yeah.
I'm also convinced that my device is going to blow up.
Well, I know with Apple, actually, there are times where if you don't buy the Apple specific cable,
It doesn't work.
it won't work. And that's not to say just like the lightning port. It's the cable itself is crappier. Like we had issues with using the iPad that Carla Marie has. We use that for our games that we play on the Morning Show podcast. And USB-C to like a headphone outlet, it only works with the one you can buy from Apple. So now we have three
And you
of
can
those.
blame Apple for that as like, oh, they only want you to buy their stuff. But I think a lot of it is safety because then like those other wires sometimes get like so hot, like the actual wire gets hot.
Yeah, it's safety. It's job security for Apple.
For
That's what it
Timka.
is. It's that kind of safety. Oh, also
I'm telling you-
snacks, Tacoma Swifty, great point. Snacks are great at dollar stores.
I know. I almost bought so many snacks. I was like, I don't need these snacks. But the gift bags, Charity Gaming is right. They have like gift bags and cards there. I mean, cards could be $7.
Yeah.
I mean, support local whenever you can. But like, listen, we're all not rich and can go buy a $10 gift bag.
I struggle sometimes with, not because I don't want to support local. I think obviously, yes, support a local business when you can. But also like a Dollar Tree is hiring local people. And there's a local franchisor most likely. I don't know how the Dollar Tree franchise system works.
I know.
But with like a Subway, for example, that's a person who opened a Subway. Like it's not, Subway doesn't own that physical location. There's usually, like, think of Orange Theory, Carla Marie. You could go to a local gym, but Orange Theory is also owned by someone who opened up that franchise and employs
And lives here.
locals to coach the classes and to clean the studios and to work reception. So it's an interesting issue that I have because I'm like, yeah, all these places, if there's a human being in there, that's a local person. But I also understand the sentiment. We don't need to give Target more money when there are local businesses that sell things as well.
And It's Me Meat says, same with Amazon. There are a lot of small businesses on Amazon. So many.
Yeah.
Like a lot of things like you'll see on Shark Tank, which eventually, obviously, at that point, they're not like a small business, but they're also sold on Amazon. So like, you know that those are real people behind the company.
Yeah.
Like, so there is a fine line, but obviously like trying to support mom and pop. I can guess that's the difference, right? Like a mom and pop shop versus a franchise.
Well, one of the things that I did recently, and I guess this falls into this weird category of like online versus local versus big company, whatnot. There was an adapter type thing that we needed for work. Went onto Amazon and I found it, but I realized I could order the same thing. I could have it shipped to a Guitar Center from Guitar Center's website instead of having it shipped directly to me. So I said, you know what? I'm going, and it was going to get there to Guitar Center like a day earlier or something. So there was a benefit for me, but I shipped it to the Guitar Center because that Guitar Center is a physical place with real employees that help people answer questions. Places like Guitar Center are great because their employees usually do help in that world. So when I get back to Seattle on Monday, I'm going to drive to the Guitar Center, pick it up from a physical location. And even though I did order it online and it was easy, I'm still in my mind at least, supporting a brick and mortar business with real employees that live in the area.
I mean,
am I a martyr? Am I the best person in the world? Yes. But that's not the point here.
I was talking to a friend last week and we were saying how her thing is if it can wait, she won't buy it on Amazon anymore. Like if she's like, you know what, like I'll just add it to my shopping list when I go wherever in a few days. But if it's something that I like need right now, or it's something for the baby or whatever that like it can't wait, or I have to order from another store and it's going to take 5 days, then I'll use Amazon. She's like, so that's how I try to, but everyone has their thing. But it's like, in what world did Amazon become like, I can't believe I have to order from Amazon. It's killing me.
Yeah. I think it's very early on when Amazon took down bookstores. And then we realized because it was, this is so convenient. I can buy this book cheaper than I would have at a local bookstore. But then you realize when your local bookstores start going away, you're like, oh, crap. I was part of that problem. Just like when your local sandwich shop gets replaced because there's a McDonald's down the street and it's easier to order from a McDonald's or whatever it is. We are oftentimes, not every time, sometimes it's bad management. Sometimes people retire, sell their businesses, whatever. But oftentimes communities are the reason in a weird way that they suffer at the same time. You know what I mean? Like,
but I think Amazon with the whole book thing did so good at targeting college students because it not first came out, but like you can order a book online for so much cheaper. That is the first purchase I ever made on Amazon was a textbook because if I could spend hundreds, and I mean that number at my bookstore, or I can order it for like even 10% off on Amazon.
Yeah.
It was just so much easier in college, and it became like this thing for college students. And then that's how they got us roped in at that age. And now it's like, I can order other things from Amazon. I can order office supplies at my new job. And then it just.
Well, all of these big businesses, the Amazons of the world, the Ubers of the world, they first found a problem, right? You had to solve a problem first and be really good at solving that problem. So Uber's a great example. Uber now sells everything, right? They're a $1 billion company, but they started because the taxi industry was so far behind. It was such a bad experience. If you didn't live in New York or Vegas, basically getting a cab, calling them, waiting for them, having to pay in cash, whatever it was, the cab driver not knowing where they were taking you, all of it was a bad experience. Uber cleaned that up and essentially wiped out, with the exception of a handful of cities, wiped out the cab business.
It's crazy.
You know,
I still cab it from the airport.
Yeah, I mean, there are situations. Vegas, I still use a cab from hotel to hotel. New York, you can still grab a cab. Where are you going? All right. Are college textbooks still expensive? Is anyone in the chat in college or have a college-aged child that can tell us what the average cost of a textbook is? No, where do we got? I tried to put that on the screen. It didn't work. Oh, here we go. The University of Washington Tacoma bookstore shut down. Wow. They acknowledge students just rent or buy their books online now. I do remember when I was at Seton Hall, when I was still a bio major, there was a book that I had to buy for like $180, I believe it was. And normally in most bookstores, you can go back at the end of the year and sell back your books and they can be sold new the next year. And unfortunately, the book that I had to buy, that was the first edition of it. So I had to buy it brand new. Hey, there's Max. There's my girl. And then I went to go sell it back because remember, I bought the first edition of this book. I should have been able to sell it back, and they were going to give me $1 for it because they weren't going to use that same book the following year. And I didn't even sell it back. I just threw it in the garbage. So I'm not going to give this to you.
The burning of the books.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Oh, and there are digital books available.
So I had a digital book when I was in college. I was the first class that had the opportunity to do media, whatever media book it was. And I was like, it was like half the price. So I was like, I'm going to do it. It is so hard to study reading off of a computer.
Yeah, I don't
especially
know
at
if I
that
like
point
that.
when it was your first time.
Yeah.
But
Well, you're studying now off of a computer, right?
I am. We
Is
haven't
it
even talked
different?
about this. I don't love it, but it's okay. I'm learning.
Ooh, this is interesting. So, Jess from Minnesota, in Finland, all of our college textbooks were provided by the library. It was so nice. We did have an option at Seton Hall, and I think most schools have this. If you couldn't buy the book, the school library had to carry one of every textbook. I think that was like a law, not a law, but that
Yeah.
was a requirement for the school library. And you could, if you wanted to, go to the library, make copies of what you needed from the book. I don't think you were allowed to check it out, but you were allowed to read it in the
Oh.
library, make copies of pages you needed, and then take that with you, or just study in the library and then give the book back and go back to your dorm or go back home.
That's cool.
Yeah. But yeah, now, I mean, so many people can just put up books digitally, even if they do it illegally.
Yeah.
It's so much easier.
I mean, I definitely shared textbooks with friends too.
This isn't a weird, I did not expect to see this comment. Did you guys see the two guys podcasting from a cafe when a truck
It's crazy.
ran into the building behind them?
I think I sent it to you. It would, you know how like when we did live, Monday, Friday live from Fred's Brewery,
Yeah.
and there was the window right behind us? It was literally that.
Holy
And
crap.
someone crashes into it, and the car, like, nothing like maybe some glass falls on them, but they're both like, and it's great audio because they use the audio from the podcast.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy.
I did
And
not
they're
see
just
that.
like this. Yeah. It's
That's
wild.
crazy. So what was Max just outside?
No,
Or
I
did you-
woke her up.
You went and grabbed, you left specifically to go get Max just now?
No, I had to pee.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. No, I need to go watch that video. Ashley said she saw it on TikTok, so I got to go check that out.
Your breath, man. You need mouthwash.
You know what that is? That is a fear that I have in almost every time I'm outside. I'm like, what if someone just wasn't paying attention and ran into me? Because there's so many times where I'll go through like a crosswalk, and I'll notice that the person, if I wasn't paying attention, was on their phone just driving
Yeah.
straight through.
Yes.
So it's now this fear that I have walking anywhere. Like, all it takes is one person to be texting, lean over to the right, take the wheel with them, and bam, you're
Oh, yeah.
gone.
I mean, sometimes when I'm parking, I go on the curb. So do you.
Yeah. But I think that's acceptable. I think you're even allowed to do that in your driver's test. Or maybe not.
I don't know about that.
Like, you're allowed to hit the curb. You're not allowed to hit a car, obviously, or a cone. Because they want you to be close to the curb, but sometimes you got to brush a little bit.
Okay. That's excessive. I
What?
don't know about that.
I think you do. Angela in Spokane,
you
this is
re-
why people need to get off their phones while driving and walking to pay attention to their surroundings. You know, yes, first off, the first group of people that needs to get off their phones are drivers. But secondly, the amount of adults that I have seen while I'm driving or while I'm walking walk directly into the street without looking up from their phone is wild. I mean, it is a daily occurrence. Every time I'm out, I will see a grown human walk directly into a street looking at their phone. Bless you.
Oh, maybe I am allergic to cats.
Maybe you are. It is crazy. Let's see. Mellow FM just said, I saw someone holding up their phone, talking while driving, but at least everyone's on Bluetooth.
Yeah, that's
Or I
crazy.
thought everyone was on Bluetooth at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, so they were holding it up like this or holding it to their, like, were they FaceTiming? Because I've seen that too.
Just seeing anyone do this is so weird. So I feel like everyone has headphones everywhere, not just driving.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Well, I
Vicky-
have definitely driven and put it on mascara.
Vicky says, oh my God, yes, also so many girls driving on the highway putting on mascara. I feel like even before phones, like you just use your mirror, right?
Yes. She doesn't mean using her phone.
No,
Like,
because some
in
people
the-
put their makeup on with their phones now.
Yeah, but not while you're driving.
Why not? It's a mirror.
But that's not what Vicky is saying. Vicky is saying there's so many people putting mascara on in their car
I don't like that you're speaking for Vicky, Carla Marie. Who do you think you are? And that is another thing. So I have noticed this. So Ashley, we've talked about it. Ashley is finishing up high school, right, Carla Marie?
Yes.
And it's so easy for an older generation or an older person to be like, oh, kids are doing this with their phones. They're all crazy. Older people are way worse at texting and driving, calling and driving. I feel like the weight of the responsibility has fallen on younger generations to be safe because older generations do not care.
Well,
Most
also,
of the
you have to
people
keep
that I
in
see
mind,
texting and driving are actually older.
the generation of, I guess, us and above were the same people that had CD books
Yeah.
and would shift through them and while driving.
Yeah. It's funny. Every time someone says the word podcast,
I know it
the
sends
Stream
it. I love
Elements
it.
notification that says the Morning Show podcast is out and ready to make your day a little better. We'd love to have you listen and rate and review the podcast. I forgot I even put that in there.
Claire said, I was listening to a podcast that had a guy who got released from prison after a long time being in there.
Mm-hmm.
He said it was weird seeing everyone just staring at their phones out in public.
Mm-hmm.
Bus, grocery store, gym, no one interacting. I guess that's got to be insane.
Yeah. It is easy. And I'm obviously guilty of it. I think all of us are guilty of it in some capacity. Cindy K said, I still use my CD book.
How vintage.
There's no CD player in our car, right?
No.
Do cars still, that's got to be an add-on, right? At this point, if you want a CD player in your new car.
I think my Jeep had one. I think that was it.
Do you remember, we'll talk about throwback technologies again. This was probably like early 2000s. Everyone had a friend or a family member that had the 12-disc CD changer in their trunk.
Oh, yeah.
So you had to actually load in your CDs from the trunk because it was like a thing this big. And then
you would skip through them on your radio.
But you'd have to remember which CD was which in which slot. And that's how you had like your music library with you.
Martha said she had one.
That was crazy, yeah. I feel like my cousin Chris had that. I had
next to your subwoofers.
But then when the technology got a little better, you could actually, the CD's changer was behind your dashboard. So it would take a while to shuffle through the CDs, but you could enter more CDs through your regular like radio faceplate system in your entertainment system, if you will. But man, again, Ashley never heard of it.
I mean, yeah. By the time I was driving at 17, it wasn't really.
It was a short life. It was not as short as the mini disc, but a short life in terms of actual like integration into society. What?
You know what I just realized?
What?
Turning 35.
Yeah.
I have spent more of my life with a driver's license than I have without.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I don't like it. That's crazy.
And soon you'll be, what, one more year? You become an adult at 18, right?
Yeah.
So very soon you'll spend more of your life. No. Huh?
It'll be even next year.
But I said very soon. I didn't say next year. You will spend more of your life and the rest of your life as an adult.
Well, I've spent more years in Seattle than I have working for Elvis Duran in the morning show.
Yeah, that is crazy. The adult thing is funny because it's one of those things, and we all do this as kids. Like you want to grow up, you want to like have all the responsibilities and make your own rules, blah blah blah, and you don't realize that you're going to be an adult for most of your life,
mm-hmm.
and you're going to get most of the crappy parts about being an adult too.
That's why I say to college students, unless you want to get out because you don't want to spend any more money, but I'm like, dude, don't rush it. You're going to be working for the rest of your life. Like now when a lot of high school seniors are like, I'm going to take a year to figure out what I want. I'm like, yeah. Because you're going to work for literally at this point, we're working till we're 75, maybe.
And I also think there's a lot to be said for going out and having, like, whether it's a job, whether it's traveling, going out when you're 17, 18, 19 years old, getting real life experiences and then going back to school. Instead of just this life of school from the time you're in pre-K or kindergarten all the way until you graduate College, you've done nothing productive, really. I mean, obviously you've graduated and maybe had a part-time job, but generally speaking, you've done nothing but been instructed that whole time.
Yeah.
And our schools, listen, some school districts are great, some are terrible, but schools are basically set up to make you a good factory employee. Do you show up on time? Do you listen to the teacher? Do you hand in things on time? Then you get an A. Go on out into the world. They're not necessarily places, in most schools at least. Like I was very lucky where I went to a school district that really did want you to think on your own and act on your own. But most schools they're there to make sure that you're a good factory line employee, which is almost useless today.
It's true.
Because you either have to move to China to get a factory job or a computer's going to take your job.
Yeah.
So it's kind of crazy. It is kind of crazy. Angela said, I've been working since I was 13. Our tribe has summer youth opportunities that range from 12 to 23. College internships too. That is really cool.
It says 13.
What? Oh, did I say 12 to 23? I just read the wrong numbers. Either way, pretty cool.
Yeah.
I wish that's where we'd change the public education system. I agree. But it's also, in other countries have done it, it's hard to figure out how to grade students if it's more of a free thinking criteria.
There was a whole thing about, remember they tested like one school where like they didn't grade students and they were like, everyone's fine. Like everyone's fine.
I don't know how it would be implemented nationally. But obviously there are districts, there are schools that are changing the way the grading system works, changing the way
too woke,
the way they change things. The problem is you've got to get everyone on board. And
the woke public school system and their gay agenda.
And one of the problems is I think there are a lot of parents who can't comprehend how their children will be successful in life if they don't get A's in school.
Right.
So they don't want the school system to change it because they really can't. And that's how they're conditioned. They can't figure out a way. They can't imagine a way where their kid is going to get a better college education or a scholarship without making sure they get A's on their intro to bio class or whatever.
But what is that plan? I don't know. Like, how will they? But
I don't have the answers.
Also, I don't actually believe that the public school system is promoting a gay agenda. That was being sarcastic.
Carla Marie spent one day in Florida, and now that's what she thinks. Let's see. Jill said, my 18-year-old stepson never learned cursive, and most of his teachers in junior and senior high school didn't enforce deadlines. He already dropped out of college and is doing online community college, barely passing. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
And that's the thing. No system is going to work for every student because every student is going to fit into a specific system better. Right? Like, I was never a good student. Ever.
I was, but I think I was just a good factory worker.
Exactly.
I didn't excel at being a factory worker. I was just like, do it. I'll do the extracurriculars.
It's actually very similar to, this is a weird comparison to make, credit scores. Credit scores don't mean you're great at paying your bills. They mean you're good at having, they mean you're good at being a customer for a credit card company.
Yeah.
They don't necessarily mean you're going to be more successful in life. And yes, there are advantages to having a good credit score, right? You get a better loan, you get a better whatever. Just like there are advantages to being a good student because people will assume you're smarter when you go to college. But they don't necessarily mean that the person holding that good score or good grade is going to succeed. If that makes sense.
Scotty B was talking about this on a recent episode of Serial Killers, how he was talking to one of his daughter's teachers. Mm-hmm. And now in grading papers, if a kid says like he was LOLing, they don't mark it off. They're allowed to use, like the teacher was saying this to him. Okay. They're allowed to use like IRL. This is what I believe.
Okay, well, that's interesting.
I know. And I guess spelling is something that they don't even check for anymore because it doesn't matter because you're just going to use spell check.
See, I disagree.
Teacher, no, it doesn't matter if this is how the school system is.
No, I get it.
Where his daughter goes to school. That's it. No more spell check and they can use whatever they want.
But the problem with not grading spelling is you're just creating adults who can't spell and look like idiots on social media.
Correct.
Like, or who don't know the difference between there, and there.
Well,
And they end up hurting
even with
themselves
the school
because people
system-
think they're dumb.
But even with the school system, people still didn't learn that. So I don't know what to tell you. There are plenty of
That's
boomers
true.
and millennials on Instagram using the wrong wheres and theirs.
And then Jill said, her son goes to Catholic school and has spelling tests every week, and he loves them because it's an easy 100.
I love spelling
But
tests.
this is what I was saying earlier about how specific systems help specific kids. If you're a kid that's good at memorizing, or at least likes spending time to memorize and do that, it's a great system to learn your multiplication tables, your spelling tests, your history dates, right? But not all of us think the same way. Not all of us are motivated as kids by the same things or are interested in the same things.
No.
But we're grading everyone
Definitely
on the
not me.
same scale.
Like if I got to learn like public speaking skills rather than just do this book report and talk about it in front of everyone, that would have been my thing. I loved when I got into middle school, one of the technology stations I got to do for a marking period was the radio. And I got to put together a radio show.
Yeah.
Another time I got to film a commercial where I starred Britney Spears and we just redid the Pepsi commercial.
That surprised nobody in this chat. But it's almost 1:00 here on the East Coast.
Oh my God.
We've been chatting for a while. I know we were a little late today, so it doesn't really matter. But thank you for hanging out with us. I am going to enjoy some family time, even
Yes,
though
do
it's
that.
under, unfortunate circumstances. You can still make the best out of those situations. Carla Marie, what's your plan this weekend?
I'm gonna do some studying and I am gonna see what else I can get at Dollar Tree maybe and do some more organizing.
I can't wait to go home and just see stacks of plastic everywhere.
No, a lot of it wasn't plastic; it's cloth.
What? Oh, I thought you said gloss. Cloth. Okay.
But putting a link in here for Seattle cocktail Carnival of Cocktails, so that you can check it out and use code CMA to get your ticket. We will be there. It's gonna be a blast. Copy link.
Yeah, you made it sound real fun just then.
I was.
We'll be there. It's gonna be a
it's fun.
blast.
It's
All right.
it's a fun event where there's like hundreds of different spirits for you to try. It's a good time.
Thank you for hanging out with us. The Morning Show podcast, like the chat has said many, many times, the Morning Show podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. So if you haven't done that yet, give it a listen. It will be live as well tomorrow, and we will see you on Monday. Peace out.
Peace out, Cub Scouts. Thank you.